Hello and welcome back to Foundation of Public Speaking. So in Unit 4, we'll continue to talk about the next steps to prepare a speech, which are organizing and outlining. Let's watch the video and see what's wrong with her answer.
Okay. Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, such as in South Africa and Iraq, everywhere such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
We can see that her answers do not have any clear structure. It does not even answer the questions. Well, to be fair, she had to answer a difficult question without any preparations. So it is understandable why she answers so badly. But we, as the speakers, usually have more time to think about our speech, so we should make sure that our speech has a clear and meaningful structure to avoid awkward speech like in the video. So, how many parts are there in a speech? Normally, we have 3 parts in a speech. The first one is introduction, next is body, and the last is ending. After this lesson, the student will be able to identify the main points of a speech, use the outline guide to organize the idea of a speech, identify the types of opening, body, and conclusion, identify the important part of an introduction, and determine the important parts of a conclusion. We have 4 parts in this lesson. 4.1, beginning the speech. 4.2, organizing the body of the speech. 4.3, ending the speech. And 4.4 is the recap. So the first impressions are very important. A poor beginning may so distract the listener that the speaker can never fully recover. In most speech situations, the introduction has 4 objectives. Vậy thì cái ấn tượng đầu tiên rất là quan trọng. Một cái khởi đầu tồi tệ có thể làm người nghe bị phân tâm hoặc là sẽ có cái ấn tượng xấu với cái bài nói tiếp theo của bạn. Và trong hầu hết các tình huống thì phần giới thiệu thường có 4 mục tiêu chính sau đây ạ. The first one, get the attention and interest of the audience. Chúng ta phải thu hút sự chú ý và quan tâm của khán giả. Next, reveal the topic of your speech. Tiết lộ chủ đề bài phát biểu của bạn. Thirdly, establish your credibility and goodwill. Thiết lập uy tín và cái thiện chí của bạn. And last one is reveal the body of the speech. Và chúng ta sẽ nói trước cái nội dung bài phát biểu của mình. So the introduction includes a hook and a message. So a hook, hoặc là mình có thể dịch nghĩa đen tiếng Việt đó là cái móc câu ạ, is something to attract attention. And next one is the message, cái thông điệp is what your speech is about. So a hook or grabber is the part of your presentation that compels an audience to sit up and pay attention. The audiences have lots on their mind as they prepare to listen to your remarks. So you need to let them know right away that you are the speaker who is going to be interesting. Vậy thì phần móc câu là một cái phần của cái bài thuyết trình mà các bạn sẽ phải buộc khán giả ngồi dậy và chú ý đến mình. Và bạn cần phải cho biết rằng là bạn sẽ là một cái diễn giả rất là thú vị. Một phần móc câu tốt sẽ là một phần có những cái yếu tố gây bất ngờ, một phần rất là ngắn gọn nhưng mà có một cái tiếng vang lớn với khán giả. So you can say something like, I'm going or I'm about to share the blah 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 secrets no one ever told you. Why this word? Because it makes an irresistible promise that the audience can't ignore. Tại sao cái câu này nó lại là một cái câu hook cho khán giả, bởi vì đây là một cái lời hứa, chúng ta đưa ra một cái lời hứa mà khán giả sẽ khó cưỡng lại, không thể bỏ qua được. Or we can start something like who likes, đúng không ạ? Ai thích cái điều gì đó. So why this work? Because the question begs to be answered, so the audience pay attention. Đây sẽ là một cái câu hỏi để lấy lại được cái sự chú ý của khán giả. Or we can say something like, have you ever wondered why? Why this work? Because it's empathize with the audience. Cái câu hỏi này thể hiện cái sự đồng cảm với khán giả. Or we can start by, here's why you are wasting our time on. Why this work? Because it shocked the audience to attention to the fear they are using their time for something unnecessary. Chúng ta có thể gây sốc cho khán giả bằng cách là khơi dậy nỗi lo sợ rằng là họ đang sử dụng thời gian một cách vào một cái thứ gì đó không cần thiết, đúng không ạ? Or this is what blah 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 will surely look like next year. Why this work? Because it shows the change or the threat of change or gets attention. Sự thay đổi, sự thu hút sự chú ý. Try it out. Develop the introduction for the topic, what leads to success, and the time for your speech is 3 minutes. So the body parts of a speech includes the main points, or we call luận điểm, and supporting ideas, or we call luận cứ. So the main points are the central feature of a speech. You should select them carefully, phrase them precisely, and arrange them strategically. So how do you choose the main point then? Sometimes they will be evident from your specific purpose statement. Vậy thì những cái luận điểm chính là cái phần trung tâm của cái bài phát biểu, và các bạn sẽ phải lựa chọn làm sao cho nó một cách rất là cẩn thận và diễn đạt được chính xác và sắp xếp chúng một cách chiến lược. Và làm thế nào để chúng ta có thể chọn được những cái luận điểm chính? Vậy thì mình có một ví dụ như sau ạ. Suppose your specific purpose is to inform my audience about the development, technology and benefits of the hydrogen fuel cells. Đối với cái câu specific purpose như vậy thì chúng ta có thể dễ thấy rằng là bài này sẽ có 3 ý chính ạ. So the first one is deal with the development of hydrogen fuel cells. The second with the technology behind the hydrogen fuel cells. And the third with the benefits of the hydrogen fuel cells. So let's turn on to the supporting ideas, or we call luận cứ. So good speeches are not composed of hot air and generalizations. They need strong supporting materials to bolster the speaker's point of view. The skillful use of supporting materials often makes the difference between a poor speech and a good one. There are some basic kinds of supporting materials. Examples? Một ví dụ, personal stories, một câu chuyện cá nhân, statistics, thống kê, expert words, lời nói của chuyên gia, or scientific evidence, bằng chứng khoa học. So can you please watch the video about why kids should have a long recess? Tại sao những đứa trẻ lại cần có một cái kỳ nghỉ dài? And answer these questions. What are the main reasons? And what did the speaker use to support his reasons?
Once last year I got armor and a sword. I found a dog and played with him. I built a house and made a garden. Night came and monsters were everywhere. There was an evil lord that I started killing. Just as I was about to destroy him, time to line up. Hello, my name is Simon Link and I'm talking about why kids should have an hour-long recess. Did you know that genes change when they get playtime? Out of 1,200 genes that scientists have studied, 1/3 of them have changed when they had a half-hour playtime. Since the 1800s, research shows that you learn better and faster when having playtime. Work that has breaks is more effective than work with long stretches. Some colleagues visited a school that had no recess. They asked them to have recess twice a week so that they could watch them and see what they were like. They were more focused and less fidgety on days when they had recess. Stress impacts on learning and health. For many children, especially those considered hyperactive, recess is an opportunity to expend energy in a healthy, suitable manner. Recess develops social skills. Recess may be the only time of the day when children have an opportunity to experience socialization and real communication. The outside light triggers the synthesis of vitamin D, which many studies have shown increases academic learning. The outdoors is the best place for children to burn calories, practice emerging physical skills, and experience the pure joy of movement. According to Ray Pica, who is a children's physical activity specialist, recess may be the research even shows that you learn. Research even shows that when having physical activity at school, you usually have more physical activity at home, and children who don't have the opportunity to be physically active during the school day don't usually compensate during the after-school hours. Running around helps the brain. Thanks to advances in brain research, we know that most of the brain is activated during physical activity, much more so than being a couch potato. Now, stand up and do 10 jumping jacks when I say go. Go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now sit down. I imagine a world where every child gets lots of playtime. I hope that if you have children, you will make sure that those children get lots of playtime. Thank you.
Exercise 2. Match the main ideas with their support. So I have main idea 1. Recess help children learn faster and better. Number 2. Recess help develop social skills. And number 3. Recess increase children's physical activities. So how to organize the body of the speech then? For example, we just look at why kids should have recess. So the main reasons we have here is recess help children learn faster and better. We can use some kind of scientific evidence to support it. For example, out of 1,200 genes that scientists have studied, 1/3 of them have changed when they had a half-hour playtime. For main reason 2, recess helps develop social skills. You can use further explanations. So recess may be the only time of the day when the children have an opportunity to experience socializations and real communications. For main reason 3, recess increase children's physical activities. You can use some kind of expert voice as well. So according to Miss ABC, who is a children's physical activity specialist, when having physical activity at school, children usually have more physical activity at home. Let's try it out. Develop the body of the topic. what leads to success, and again, we have 3 minutes. So let's move to the ending. So Longfellow once said, great is the art of the beginning, but greater the art is of ending. So your closing remarks are your last chance to drive home your ideas. Moreover, your final impressions will probably linger in your listener minds. Thus, you need to craft your conclusion with as much care as your introduction. No matter what kind of speech you are giving, the conclusion has 2 major functions. So to let the audience know you are ending the speech, and to reinforce the audience understanding of or commitment to the central idea. Vậy thì cái phần kết thúc là cái cơ hội cuối cùng để bạn để lại ấn tượng trong tâm trí của người nghe. Và cái phần kết luận này thì chúng ta có 2 chức năng chính. Thứ nhất là để cho các khán giả biết là chúng ta đang kết thúc cái bài phát biểu. Và thứ hai là để củng cố cái sự hiểu biết hoặc là cái sự cam kết của người nghe đối với cái ý tưởng chính trong bài nói của mình. So therefore, our ending normally contains of 2 parts. So the first one is the review. So you need to list the main points of the speech again. Thứ nhất là chúng ta sẽ phải tóm tắt lại tất cả những cái ý chính trong cái bài nói. And number 2, reinforce the message. Chúng ta sẽ phải củng cố lại cái thông điệp của bài nói bằng cách là đưa ra những cái memorable statement, đưa ra những cái câu khiến cho khán giả sẽ phải lưu ý, chú tâm hơn. Và thứ hai, tie to the introduction, tức là chúng ta sẽ gắn liền nó với cái phần mở đầu của mình. So I want you to pause the video, read the 2 options carefully, then choose which one is better and why. So in this example, A seems to be better because it first lists the main points in the talk, and second, ties with the introduction about the story during break time. So the ending A can help listener remember the idea in the talk easier and leave a deeper impressions. It's also logically linked with the previous parts of the talk. Let's try it out. So now I want you to develop the ending for the topic, what leads to success. And the time limits here is 3 minutes. We talk about how to make the introductions, okay? So the hook, the message. We look at how to do the body with 2 main ideas and supporting ideas. And we look at how to end a speech by giving recap or reinforce the message. Exercise 3. Arrange the parts in a suitable order. Now, please watch the video for the answer.
This is really a 2-hour presentation I give to high school students, cut down to 3 minutes. And it all started one day on a plane on my way to TED, 7 years ago. And in the seat next to me was a high school student, a teenager, and she came from a really poor family. And she wanted to make something of her life. And she asked me a simple little question. She said, "What leads to success?" And I felt really badly because I couldn't give her a good answer. So I get off the plane and I come to TED. And I think, geez, I'm in the middle of a room of successful people. So why don't I ask them what helped them succeed and pass it on to kids? So here we are, 7 years, 500 interviews later, and I'm going to tell you what really leads to success and makes TEDsters tick. And the first thing is passion. Freeman Thomas says, "I'm driven by my passion." Tedsters do it for love. They don't do it for money. Carol Coletta says, I would pay someone to do what I do. And the interesting thing is, if you do it for love, the money comes anyway. Work. Rupert Murdoch said to me, it's all hard work. Nothing comes easily, but I have a lot of fun. Did he say fun, Rupert? Yes. Tedsters do have fun working, and they work hard. I figure they're not workaholics, they're workaholics. Good. Alex Garden says, to be successful, put your nose down in something and get damn good at it. There's no magic, it's practice, practice, practice. And it's focus. Norman Jewison said to me, I think it all has to do with focusing yourself on one thing. And push. David Gallo says, push yourself. Physically, mentally, you've got to push, push, push. You got to push through shyness and self-doubt. Goldie Hawn says, I always had self-doubts. I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I didn't think I'd make it. Now, it's not always easy to push yourself, and that's why they invented mothers. Frank Gehry said to me, my mother pushed me. Serve. Sherwin Newland says it was a privilege to serve as a doctor. Now, a lot of kids tell me they want to be millionaires, and the first thing I say to them is, okay, well, you can't serve yourself. You got to serve others something of value, because that's the way people really get rich. Ideas. Tedster Bill Gates says, I had an idea. Founding the first microcomputer software company. I'd say it was a pretty good idea. And there's no magic to creativity and coming up with ideas. It's just doing some very simple things. And I give lots of evidence. Persist. Joe Kraus says persistence is the #1 reason for our success. You got to persist through failure. You got to persist through crap, which of course means criticism, rejection, assholes, and pressure. So the answer to this question is simple. Pay $4,000 and come to TED. Or failing that, do the 8 things, and trust me, these are the big 8 things that lead to success. Thank you, Tedsters, for all your interviews.
So to sum up, we look at how to identify the main points of a speech, how to use the outline guide to organize the idea of a speech, how to identify the types of opening, body, and conclusion, identify the important parts of the introductions, and last, we look at how to determine the important parts of a conclusion. So this is the end of Unit 4. And see you next time.